type of face, the one you see on magazine. She's got that vintage type of beauty, she'll be the death of me. But I don't mind dying if hers the last face that I see. She's beautiful and kind and strong, kinda icy. And if I ever overstep...
Today I'm joined by Fraser Morgan, who's joined me to chat about his musical career. Fraser, welcome to Totally Music. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello. Yes, I am Fraser Morgan. To what extent do you want me to introduce myself? Like everything that I do, like I do folk punk about mental health and getting better, and I'm based in Essex, and I've almost played 1,000 gigs. I think that's a rough roundup of me.
I'm glad to have you on. So what got you into music?
I didn't mean to. I loved poetry growing up. I used to love rhyming, and then I remember, I think it was hearing Ed Sheeran sing and play, because I used to grow up with my mum's music, but hearing just like a simple bit of guitar and like what I heard was just poetry and guitar. I was like, that's something that I'm really interested in. But I randomly did some singing when I was like 10 to 16 for no reason. I've entered a school show. My mum was like, why'd you do that? I was like, I don't know. And then I just kept on doing it. So that's what got me into it.
So for anyone who hasn't heard your music, how would you describe it?
Yeah, I would describe it as, I've been told it's folk punk. I kind of want to say like Brit folk, but I don't really know. I think it's quite accessible. I think it's kind of for anyone, because what I talk about is it's not as generic. It's just very human. So it's very much about mental health, kind of oriented, but also have other themes of it. But yeah, I think it's just someone once told me to write what you know, and all I do is write what I know. But I feel like from what I've been told is what I write is quite relatable. So yeah, I guess it's like that folk punkish, kind of that mixture of kind of like Ed Sheeran and Sloppy with like I don't know how to explain, like this post kind of modern-y twist to it. I guess dipping your toes into the more self-reflective mental health side of stuff. Quite honest, because I'm very bad at lying. So yeah, it's quite open and honest, but probably too much sometimes.
So where do you get your inspiration from for the songs that you create?
Very random. Very predominantly, I will have like a phrase or a word come into my head. I usually, quite commonly now, I'll build my songs around song titles. So I'll get like a song title come into my head. Like when I was dating this girl once, I'd met her in the library, and my brains went, oh, the girl in the library. And I was like, that's a sweet little song title. And I wrote a song around that. So, a lot of time it will start around that, and it'll just be like a random, I have lots of thoughts. I think I'm always thinking lyrics or poems and stuff, and there's little things, oh, does this work? And trial error in my head quite a lot. And then maybe 10% of the time, 5% of the time, something will stick. And then of that 5%, it will then I'll attempt a song. 50% of those will turn into a song. And of that 50%, maybe 5% will be a song that I keep. So it's very much like when you hear a song, you probably heard like 200 failed ideas.
So a lot of your songs focus on mental health. Why is this important to you?
I didn't know it was really until I went through my own kind of my stuff, and I went to lots of therapy, and I sorted myself out, and I kind of saw like the light, like having like quite a difficult time growing up, and really kind of letting go of the things that were stopping me from becoming the person that I wanted to be. I kind of just, growing up, I'd write about, I don't know, those romantic feelings. And as I got older, I started to really want to write about these things because I just really enjoyed it. It wasn't that it was important for me to do so. It's just that's what I knew at the time. But now it's become, I've realised on reflection, it's become like a point of self-reflection and self-expression, sorry. But it's just, I like trying to keep myself busy, and I'll get quite bored of my own songwriting if I write about the same stuff all the time. So even though the general theme is mental health, that can kind of fall under the umbrella of stuff. So that's nice for me, but also like to help people. So with my songwriting, it tends to take quite an informative kind of approach. Sometimes you've listened to my song "Call Me Mate," it's quite an informative song about men's mental health, and then with kind of "Here We Go Again," it's really quite introspective about trying to work out why I think the way that I do. Do I get it from my mum, or do I get it from my father, who I haven't met? So yeah, it's kind of self-exploration, both at the same time wanting to help others with informing them about mental health.
Nice. So what are your favourite set of lyrics you've written and why?
Oh, great question. My favourite set of lyrics. One of them is in that song "Here We Go Again," where it says, "To my mama, oh, I'm sorry for breakdowns you've seen me had. Well, I wish I could blame him, but I've never met my dad." Maybe it's what's the lyrics of my own song? Maybe it's something. Maybe it's DNA. It all goes away for a brief second, and then it comes back. Here we go again, and I quite like that because that song, "Here We Go Again," I didn't realise what I'd written until I gigged it about 50 times. And then one time I was on stage in autopilot mode almost, and thinking, and then I was just reflected on the song, and I was like, oh, I didn't even realise I'd written that. So yeah, I quite like those lyrics. And there's a song that I haven't released yet, as I mentioned earlier, the girl in the library, and I managed to incorporate the marine biology into a set of lyrics, which I was quite proud of, which was I haven't heard done before, and I didn't mean to do it. It's just what she studied, so I was quite happy with that.
Right. So in June, you're about to play your 1000th show, which is a huge achievement. What can people expect from the gig?
Oh wow. The gig, the night overall, I'm quite lucky. The people who seem to pay attention to my music and kind of want to be around it, I found they aren't knobheads. So I'm quite appreciative of that, because some people have like really great music, but their fan base like kind of ruin it. And I've found from my experience, all the people I've met who kind of follow what I do are just genuinely lovely souls. So with that 1000th show is, for me, it's, even though it's my 1000th gig, for me it's a night of celebration, the celebration of just life and love and the people themselves. And so yeah, going to that show, I think it's going to be really important, because they're just going to be really like, I can look around and know that everyone there is just like a decent human being. And like when I go to, like, if you go to like the big festivals like Reading and Leeds and stuff, you're going to get a lot of knobheads about. And but when I go and play like the hippie festivals, they're all just sound. And like, this is what I want my 1000th show to be, but just a bunch of really sound humans who just get it. And you know, my music is that introspection of mental health and life and loss. And yes, there are aspects of love to it, but you know, it's I think it's just very human, and people who listen to it relate to it. So yeah, and it's going to be that. And there's two amazing support acts on, Ahmed Man and Jack Walsh, who I just absolutely adore. And then there's me, who I'll try and deliver just a really chaotic yet enjoyable show, and it's going to be a celebration of me doing something I never thought I'd get to, because I was told when I was about 16, 17 that music wasn't for me. And so to play a couple of doors down from the sixth form, I was told that, to then play my 1000th show, it's just going to be a bit like, oh, that's cool. Like, oh, you know, yeah. Unless they were right, and I've just been blagging it the whole time. But...
So you're an unsigned, unmanaged artist, and what have you learned from this?
Wow. Oh, yeah. Growing up, I always wanted it really badly. I wanted to be signed. I wanted to be managed. I wanted this. I wanted that. I wanted this. I wanted that. And the longer I've done it, kind of by myself, I've learned how. Am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, go for it.
I've learned how to not be fucked over, basically, right? But I've also learned how to, like, what's expected of things. And so if I do enter some sort of partnership with someone, I know how to, not be screwed over. But I've learned how to talk to people. I've learned, email etiquette. I've learned like kind of my value as an artist, but also my values in life as a person. So that, I'm in a lucky position now where I can, if a gig only pays me 20 quid, I can go play it because I just love that gig, and I get to kind of choose kind of what I do and don't do. No one says, oh, you can't do that, because like, I'll miss out on the awesome one. So I've just learned how to organize myself, my band. I do literally, the only thing I don't do is draw my album covers and mix and master the songs, because I haven't got the ear for it and I'm really bad at drawing. So, but everything else you see is I do. And so I've learned to really appreciate those things and those tasks. And really appreciate the gigs that I do get. Some people, they might be just signed and managed really early on, and they don't understand the graft that goes into it and actually how to treat people. And doing what I do, I've really learned to appreciate it. Like when someone cooks you a meal, it's that I really appreciate for this. And it's also, it's just like appreciating what I've done to get myself there. and knowing the hard work that goes into it, and like chatting to the sound guys and the sound people, should I say, who run the gigs, and the people who put the gigs on, and the bar staff. You learn compassion and kind of empathy for those around you, and the self-awareness, and just how to not be a twat. And I think these are really important things that if you don't learn them early on, you know, you're just not going to be liked or respected as a person. And I would much rather, be someone small time and be a nice person than be someone big time who's a bit of a knobhead. So yeah, I've really learned the points of reference, really, to really understand and relate to people. I think that's really important for me anyway. So yeah, and I'm really appreciative. And if again, if someone comes along, they want to manage me, we can have that discussion, or a label, vice versa. It's not I'm turning my nose up it and being like, no, I'm punk rock, I don't need you. Like, it depends on the situation. I'm not a silly goose. Like, I am silly goose, but not in that sense. And so it's not things I'm not willing to explore, but I was thinking about this earlier, which is really weird that you asked me this. I'm very appreciative that I didn't get signed or managed when I wanted to when I was younger, because I've really got a point of reference now, and a way of empathy and compassion for those around me, which I would have learned at some point probably, but I'm happy I learned it the way I did, and the amount of work that goes into it.
Okay. So if you could give one piece of advice to someone who wants to follow in your footsteps, what would it be?
Biggest one is be nice to everyone you meet. Absolutely, like, just hands down. Two reasons. First one, everyone is deserving of love and kindness. And this isn't me being a hippie, it's just what I found deep down. If someone's being a knobhead to you, deep down, they're probably just going through some stuff themselves. And as I said, deep down, we're all just big kids who want to be loved and be loved. And it's okay to not want to be around those people, but don't slag them off, and really try and swallow it, and don't internalize it, and be compassionate to that person, and put that yourself in that person's shoes, because that really will set you free. And the second thing is gig as much as you can. I've been told by booking agents, like, who have given me advice, like, don't gig too much, and I was always a bit like, okay, like, I want to. I enjoy it. If I don't gig, I'll just do 20 gigs a year, and like, no one's really going to know who I am, because those gigs, even though I'm doing 20 gigs a year, they're still not massive. Or I can do 150 like small to medium gigs, and now 10,000 more people know who I am. So they're the two biggest things: is be nice to everyone you meet, because you don't know who knows who. And a lot of gigs I've gotten have been people being like, hey, so and so referred you. They said, like, you would get the job done, you would put on a good show, but also, like, they really liked you as a person. So that will get you more, especially when you're first starting out. That will get you more shows than your talent. Like, because I run a record label and I book shows and stuff, like, not for profit, but I in the past have been more inclined to book someone who's a nicer person, who has that empathy and compassion to them, and someone who's better than them, who isn't as kind of considerate, because I know that person who is kind of considerate is still going to put on a good show, because people can relate to them. Yeah. So yeah, they're my two biggest things. But also the third one, get used to failure and rejection, because it's going to come all the time. I still fail to this day when I write songs, but failure isn't a bad thing. Failure is like, oh, that turned out to be a song that I don't particularly enjoy, but at least I wrote it. Or the amount of emails I send out and people ignore me, like, it's just part of it. You swallow the punches and you really learn, because then you start to appreciate the things that do come. Like, because now when someone does email me and go, I'd love to have you, I'm like, yes. Like, you really learn to celebrate those tiny victories. Yeah. But the only way you can celebrate those tiny victories is by also accepting the multiple failures and rejections. Like, it is just, especially when you sign out. I have no family in the industry. I have no family, basically. I've got no one in the industry, like, helping me along the way. It's all myself, and I have failed countless times. I've been rejected, countless times I've been ignored. Practice it, get used to it. It's just part of it. And doing so, again, give that point of reference to then really appreciate what will come to you. And then when you, with that appreciation and empathy, you're not going to be a twat. And again, that pays into my first one: don't be a knobhead. So
I like it. So finally, what's next for you?
Probably going to finish off my spaghetti bolognese. No. No, what's next for me? Crikey. Well, look, I've got about 75 more gigs to play to my 100th. So it's filling in. When I announced my 1,000th gig, I had a bit of an existential crisis, and I called my partner and I went, "What have I done?" I did panic. I was like, "Oh God, I've got to do it now." But she was like, "You do like 150 to 200 gigs a year, like grow up." Not but in a nice way. She was like, "Cop on, like you do this, you're fine." So the next thing is just booking 75 shows, which actually I've got a lot booked out. But yeah, just trying to play as much as I can up and down the country. I've got a new single coming out in February, and another single after that, and then just before my 1,000th gig is hopefully an EP. I don't know if I meant to tell you that, but I'm going to do it anyway because I can do what I want. That's the plan. And yeah, and it's just constantly just trying to. I think the big one is as you're getting bigger as an artist. I'm no one special or big, but I think as you climb the ladder, is like reminding yourself who you are and why you started. Because the deeper you go into this kind of swamp of numbers games, if you will, it's easy for you to drown. And I think you just got to remember, it's really practicing just remembering why I got into it. And I've actually been getting better and better at that. And the only person I'm trying to be in competition with is myself last year. And when I find myself getting jealous with other people, which I'm allowed to, just remember that we're all different paths. So yeah, the biggest ones are book gigs, release some more music, and try to continue to stay on top of my mental health and be nice to myself. But then also be compassionate when it does slip, because I'm a human being. And it's going to happen. But yeah, they're the big milestones in the next 5 months.
Well, massive thank you, Fraser, for joining me on Totally Music. If anyone would like to check out Fraser's music, I'll leave all the links in the description below for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You've been an absolute legend. This has been really enjoyable. Thank you so much. I was so excited for you to have me on. So yeah, I'm so genuinely so appreciative. You absolute hero.
Thank you.
Body shaped like an hourglass, and I love the